A company you have never heard of out-earned half of Wall Street last year with almost nobody working there. No ads, no famous CEO, no glass tower with its name on it. Most people in finance cannot tell you what it actually does. And yet in 2024, it pulled in more trading revenue than some of the biggest banks on planet. Stick around and you'll see what this firm really sells. Why being faster and smarter beats being lucky every single time. And the one question that should change how you make decisions with your money. The firm is called Jane Street. And the secret is not they're gambling better than everyone else. It is the complete opposite. Let's pull the lid off. Start with the part that should not be possible. The number don't fit any company you can picture. In 2024, Jane Street made roughly $20.5 billion in net trading revenue. $20 billion. That is not a typo. To put it on a scale you know, that figure is in the same league as a trading desk of giants like Goldman Sachs, firm with brands so famous they are in movies. Jane Street is not in any movie. There's no founder doing podcast. There's barely a website. Now the part that breaks your brain. They did that with around 3,000 people only. 3,000 people. A single bank can employ over 200,000 people. Jane Street earns bank-sized money with a workforce that would fit inside an office floor. Run the math on revenue per head and it's one of the most absurd numbers in all the businesses. Millions of dollars of revenue for every single person who works there. And here's the strangest part of it all. They don't want you to know any of this. There's no marketing department, no ads you have ever scrolled past. A firm this profitable would, by every normal instinct of business, be screaming its name from every rooftop. Jane Street does the exact opposite. It stays in shadows on purpose, which raises the obvious question, what could you possibly be selling that prints this kind of money and needs zero fame to do it? The answer hides behind a job title that sounds boring on purpose. Market maker. Forget the jargon. Picture a mango stall for a minute. Imagine a guy who stands in a busy market all day and his only job is mangoes. He'll buy a mango from anyone for 10 rupees and he'll sell a mango to anyone for 11 rupees. He does not grow mangoes. He does not care if the mango prices go up next week or crash the next month. He just stands there all day, buying at 10 rupees and selling at 11 rupees, pocketing that 1 rupee every time a mango passes through his hand. That 1 rupee is called the spread. 1 rupee sounds like nothing, but now imagine he isn't selling a few hundred mangoes a day. He is the middleman for millions of trades every single day across the entire market. A tiny gap multiplied by an enormous number of times becomes a fortune. That's the whole trick. Jane Street is not selling mangoes. It's just standing in the middle of stocks, bonds, options, cryptos, ETFs, quoting a price to buy and a price to sell on millions of trades, capturing a sliver every time. Now, here's the part most people get wrong. And it's the most important idea in this whole video. You would assume a firm like this is making giant bets, betting the market goes up, betting it goes down. But the fact is, it is not. The entire genius is removing its own risk. When it buys something, it almost instantly sells something to cancel out the danger. So it does not care which direction the price goes. It's not gambling on the market. It's getting paid to be the place where everyone else's gambles happen. And that's the line worth carrying out of this video because it explains everything that comes next. So you're thinking, fine, if it's just buy low and sell high in the middle, why doesn't everyone do it? Because the mango stall only works if you're faster and smarter than every other person trying to stand in the same spot. That is the edge. Edge number 1 is speed. In modern markets, the gap between 10 rupees and 11 rupees exists for fractions of a second, and 100 firms are racing to grab it. Jane Street wins by being faster than human comprehension. Trades measure in microseconds, millionth of a second. By the time you have blinked, thousands of these decisions are already happened. The firm that quotes the best price the fastest is the one that gets the trade. Edge number 2 is just math. To quote a fair price on something as complicated as an options contract, you need brutal mathematics done instantly. So Jane Street does not hire salespeople. It hires physicists, mathematicians, people with PhDs in things most of us cannot pronounce. The trading floor looks less like the Wolf of Wall Street and more like a university research lab that happens to print money. Edge number 3, code. This is the legendary part. Jane Street runs much of its trading on its own custom software built almost entirely in a very niche programming language called OCaml. It's a functional language most companies never touch. Why? Because when a single bug can lose you millions in seconds, you want a language that catches your mistakes before the code ever runs. They went so deep, they are now one of the most famous famous Ocaml shops on earth, sponsoring the language itself. The edge isn't a lucky streak. It's being measurably faster, sharper, and more careful than everyone trying to stand in the same spot. So, the speed, the math, the code, together, they are a moat. But the strangest weapon in the whole machine isn't technology at all. It's how they decide who gets to walk in the door. Walk into Jane Street interview expecting questions about your CV, and you have already failed. They want to see how you think when the answer is uncertain. Their recruiting is famous for one reason. It is basically a brutal probability test. Instead of tell me about your strengths, you get puzzles, mental math under pressure, poker style problem where you have to bet on incomplete information. Game designed to test one thing. Can you reason clearly about odds when you can't be sure? Because that is literally the job. Every quote the firm makes is a calculated guess about the probability. The whole place is wired to think in a particular way. Not will this go up, but what are the chances and is the price I am being offered better or worse than those chances? The traders there talk in expected value, the average outcome if you ran a bet 1,000 times, the same way you and I talk about weather. A decision is not good because it worked once. It is good because over thousands of repetitions, the math is on your side. And this is why the sharpest quants on earth fight to get in. If you're a brilliant young mathematician, you could go work somewhere famous and grind. Or you could join a place full of people exactly as sharp as you, working on the hardest probability problems in the market, paid extraordinarily well and almost invisible to the outside world. For a certain kind of mind that is irresistible. The secrecy is not a bug, it's part of the pull. Here's where the dream meets the wall. After everything you have just heard, your natural next thought is, how do I invest in this? The thing is, you can't, and that's the catch. Jane Street is private. There is no stock ticker. It has never sold shares to public, and it does not need to. It funds itself with its own staggering profits. So, the most profitable money machine you have now heard about is one you are completely locked out of owning. The people who get a piece of those billions are the few thousands who work there. Full stop. And getting in is brutally hard. Tens of thousands apply. A tiny fraction make it through that test. So this thing sits in a strange position. One of the most profitable firms in the world, and almost nobody can buy into it or work at it. A closed world, quietly printing money with the door shut from the inside. It's also not without controversy. In 2025, India's market regulator, SEBI, passed an interim order against Jane Street over its trading here. A matter the firm disputes and that is still being contested. I'm not going to litigate that here. It's unresolved. What I'll point out instead is the backdrop. Stated plainly, India is now the world's largest equity derivative markets by trading volume. And in that same market, SEBI's own data shows that around 91% of the retail traders in futures and options lost money in FY25. You don't need to take a side on any case to see the structural facts. Millions of people are placing fast, risky bets. The side that profits most reliably isn't usually the gamblers. It is the one standing in the middle, getting paid the spread. Step back from Jane Street for a second, because the real lesson was never about a trading firm. It's a lens you can carry into your own life. Every deal, every single transaction you'll ever be a part of has two sides, and almost always one side knows more than the other. One side has done the math, seen the pattern, sat in the middle of a million versions of this exact moment. The other side is guessing. Jane Street's entire empire is built on simple commitment. Be the informed side, never the guessing side. The edge was never luck. People love to say the rich got lucky, and sometimes they did. But a firm does not earn $20 billion a year on luck. It earns it by being faster, doing the math, and by being informed party in millions of trades, while other side just hopes. Luck is a coin flip. Edge is knowing which way the coin is weighted before the flip ever happened. So the question to walk away with is not, how do I become Jane Street? It's smaller and far more useful. In your next big money decision, the insurance policy, the F&O trade, the property deal, the guaranteed return, someone's pitching you. Pause and ask, who in the room actually has the edge here? And is that me? One habit is worth taking from all this, and it costs you almost nothing. Before money leaves your hand in any deal, name the two sides out loud. Who is buying and who is selling? And who has done this tens of thousands of times versus who's doing it once? If the experienced, informed, math on their side party is the other person, you are the easy money on the other side and the one being traded against. That's not a reason to never trade. It's a reason to know which seat you're sitting sitting in before you do. Because that's the whole secret hiding inside a firm almost nobody's heard of. They did not get rich by predicting the future. They got rich by being the informed side of millions of small moments. Patient, fast, and never guessing. You are not going to build a trading empire, but you can carry one question that built theirs into every decision you make. On this channel, I break down how money and business actually works. The stuff nobody bothers to explain. If that's your kind of thing, hit subscribe and see you in the next one.